Okay, so hello, grade 10. For the elaboration of this topic, okay, I will be discussing the 12 tone technique, right? When we say 12 tone technique, we are referring to the black keys and the white keys that we have in the keyboard, okay? So we have the C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, and then we have the B and then C, right? Okay. So if we are going to look at this is the 12 tone technique or the tone rows. We have the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? And then the next after G is A again. If we are going to look at that, okay? So this pattern are the whole step pattern that we have. So in the middle of that, okay, we have still the flats and sharps that we connect, okay, as the black keys in the keyboard. Okay, so if we are going to have this one, we have the A sharp or the what we call B flat, we have the B, we have C, C sharp or D flat, D sharp or E flat, E, F, G flat or F sharp, and then we have the G, and then G sharp or A flat. So this pattern, okay, are the what we call the 12 tone technique, or somehow we call as the chromaticism or the chromatic. Okay? And then now we are going to proceed with what are the types of the 12 tone technique. Number one is we have the prime. Okay? The prime. So here is the order of prime or the prime order. Okay? So we have it started from C, then F sharp or G flat, then D, B, A sharp or B flat, F, and then C sharp or D flat, D, D sharp or E flat, and then we have the G, A, E, and then G sharp or A flat. So always remember that in prime, we are not repeating any notes. Okay, we are not allowed to repeat any notes here. Okay, so this is the correct order for prime. Okay, we are always using this one. Okay, next is what is the P0 referring to? Okay, so when we say P, okay, it refers to the type of row. Okay, because we have prime, we have retrograde, we have inversion, and then we have the retrograde inversion. Okay, if you saw that the written letter there is I0, then that is inversion. Okay? Then if you saw that the letter written is R, then it is retrograde 0. Okay? So here you can observe that it is P0, meaning to say we are referring to the prime 0. And 0 is a number that we are referring to a row transposition. If it became 1, meaning to say you have to transpose it, or you are going to jump into one semi-halftone or semitone. Okay? So that is what we are referring to. For example, okay, I'm going to have here the P1. Okay, we change from 0 to 1. We are going to move all of the P0 up by one semitone or one half step. Okay, so let's try it from the given example here. Okay, so for example, we have there C, correct? Okay, we have the given C here. And what will be the P1 or prime 1 for that one? Okay, so from C, it is the rule there is to move semitone or half step. So from C, it will become C sharp. Okay, it will become C sharp. Okay, then as you can see on the second note, we have F sharp. Okay, jump semitone. We are going to proceed with G. And then D, it will become D sharp. Correct? B to C, and then A sharp to B, F to F sharp, C sharp to D, D sharp to E, G to G sharp, A to A sharp, E to F, and G sharp to A. Okay? So similar only if we are going to proceed with P2, P3, P4, P5, or P9, P10, P11, or P12. Okay? You just have to look in the prime order 0. Okay? So for example, it will be you are going to search for P2. Okay? So you have to move to semitone. Okay? To semitone. So from the given P0, you have to jump into 2. So what is the first semitone that you will jump? Okay, that will be C sharp. And then the second one is D. So the P2, okay, that we have there, the first note will be D. Okay? And then for F sharp, okay, jump into 2. Okay? From F sharp, we are going to have G sharp. Okay? And then from D, we are going to have E. B, we are going to have C sharp. A sharp, we are going to have C. F, we are going to have G. Okay? And then C sharp, we are going to have D sharp. And then D sharp, we are going to have E sharp. And then G, we are going to have A. Then A, we are going to have B. Okay? And then from E, we are going to have F sharp. And then for G sharp, we are going to have A sharp. Okay? Is it clear? That is how you create prime. Okay? From, even though it's you are going to search for P9. Oh, you have only to jump 9 semitone in creating that one. Okay? So next is we are going to proceed with the retrograde. Okay? So when we say retrograde, it means backwards. Okay? It means backwards. So it's really easy, it's really simple that you just have to know what are the notes in prime, okay, or the prime order, because that will be or that will serve as your guide to know what are the notes in retrograde. So how can we find the retrograde here? So if our 12th note in the prime is G sharp, that will become as our first note for the retrograde. Okay? So, as you can see here, the R, the letter R, is our type of rose. Okay? ROWS. We are referring to a row. Okay? Of the 12-tone technique. Okay? And then 0 means to the number of transposition. Okay? So here, our G sharp will be, okay, the number 1 for the retrograde 0. Okay? And then the second note is E, which is, letter E is the 11th note from the prime order. It's just reverse, students, okay? You are just going to read from the backwards. Okay, so it will be 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. That's how you count, okay, to retrograde. Okay, so the 12th note for the retrograde is C, which is what? Which is the first note in prime order. Okay, let's see from the given prime 1 here. Okay, we have the prime 1 here. Okay, which is the first note for the retrograde? Yes, it is A. Okay, then the second note is F. Then the third note is A sharp. Okay, the fourth note is G sharp, fifth is E, sixth is D, seventh is F sharp, 8 is B, then 9 is C, then 10 is D sharp, 11 is G, and then 12 is C sharp. Okay? Right? If you still remember when we say prime order, okay, or the P1, okay, how do we get P1 coming from the prime order of P0? We just need to jump one semitone, correct? That's why in P1 you have there the C sharp. Okay, but in retrograde, okay, you just have to copy it reversely. Okay, so backwards only, students. Okay, so simple as that. Okay, next is we are going to proceed with inversion. Oh, that's the number 3. I'm so sorry I didn't change that. That's number 3, inversion. Okay, so in inversion, we have the letter I. Okay, it's written there, letter I, 0. Okay, 0 means the number of transposition, so it means it didn't transpose. This is the original pattern. Okay, so I want you first to look at this line. Okay, so in getting the inversion, okay, we are going to do the opposite. Okay, so if the arrow goes up, meaning to say, that is the original pattern, students. If the original pattern goes up, the inversion pattern will go down. If the original pattern stays the same, the inversion pattern will stay the same. If the original pattern goes up, okay, the inversion pattern will go down. And then if the original pattern go down, our inversion pattern will go up. Okay? So inversion, okay, meaning kabaligtaran. Okay, it's something like you are looking into a mirror. Okay, something like this. Okay. So, as you can observe, if ever it stays the same, the original pattern stays the same, the inverted pattern will also stays the same. If the original pattern goes down, the inverted pattern will goes up. Okay, so let's see an example that we have here. Okay, from C. Okay, we are going to copy that first. Okay, because that is our guide. Okay, so we have C as our guide. Okay, for the inversion pattern, you have to copy first, okay, the first note, then transpose it using the mathematical thing that we have there. Okay, we need to count here. Okay, we need to count here. So as you can observe, from C, which is the first note in the prime order, the second note is F sharp. Let's count C from C to F sharp. How many? Okay, so we have there, the first one is the C sharp, followed by D, and then we have there the D sharp, and then we have E, and then we have F, and then we have F sharp. So it goes 6. Okay, 6 semitone, correct? Okay, from C to F sharp, we have 6 semitones, and that is what we are going to do, okay, with our inversion pattern here. Okay, so we have, okay, if ever that it goes up, what we are going to do is we are going down here. Okay, so from C, let's count. Okay, C, and then the first note will be B. Okay, followed by A sharp. Okay, and then followed by A, then followed by G sharp, followed by G, and for the sixth note, we have still F sharp. Okay, we landed at the F sharp. Okay, is it clear? Okay, because we have to count, right? Okay, so since it started 6 semitones upward, we are going to count 6 semitones downward. Okay, then kindly look at the second note and the third note in the prime order. Okay, so as you can see, it is F sharp and then D. Okay, so how many semitones does it go down? Okay, let's count from F sharp to D. Okay, so we have down semitone F, number 1 is F, then number 2 is E, and then number 3 is D sharp, and then fourth is D. So meaning to say, we go down four, um, four semitones backward or downward. Okay? So the distance goes 4 semitone. Okay? So now, look at your inversion pattern there. Okay, from F sharp, okay, you are going to count upward. Okay? So, nakita po ninyo dun sa atin pong given pattern sa prime na bumaba po siya. So, sa inversion, we are going up. Tataas po tayo. Okay? So, F sharp. So, bilang po tayo ng 4. Okay? So, F sharp, the first one is G. Okay? Then, followed by G sharp. Then followed by A, which is the third one. And then the fourth one is A sharp. Meaning to say, okay, meaning to say, we landed at A sharp. Is it clear po? Okay, so the direction of the prime goes down. We are going to do the opposite. We are going up. Okay, the distance is 4. It doesn't change. Okay, so in count of 4, we landed to A sharp. Okay? Now, please look at the third note in the prime order. Okay? In the P0. In the third note, we have there D. Okay? Then the fourth note, we have B. Okay? D and B. So, let's count how many notes do we have there. Okay? So, in that one, bumaba po tayo. Okay? Bumaba po tayo. From, tumaas from D to B. Tumaas po tayo. Okay, so let's count. The first semitone na gagawin natin is D sharp. Okay, the second one is E. The third one is F. Okay, and then the fourth one is F sharp. Okay, and then next, the fifth note is G. Okay, and then the sixth note is G sharp. Seventh note is A. Eighth note is A sharp. And then ninth note is B. Meaning to say, okay, D and B, meron po siyang 9 semitone. Okay, tumaas po siya ng 9 semitone. Okay, so since tumaas siya, ang gagawin po naman natin sa ating inversion ay bababa. Okay, now kindly look at the third note in your inversion. A sharp. Ilang baba po ang gagawin natin? Siyam. Okay, from A sharp, bababa po tayo ng siyam para makuha yung ating fourth inversion note. Okay, so let's count. A sharp. Okay, so the first note in A sharp is we have A. Okay, second note is G sharp. And then, third note is G. Fourth note is F sharp. Fifth note is F. Sixth note is E. Seventh note is D sharp. Eighth note is D. Then the ninth note is C sharp. Let's see if that is correct. Yes. Okay, so as you can see, we landed the fourth note for the inversion, we landed at C sharp. Okay, ganun lang po yung gagawin. Okay, so you have to base your answer from the prime order. Okay, so now looking at the fourth note and the fifth note, okay, you can see there from B to A sharp. Okay, bumaba po tayo. B to A sharp, bumaba tayo ng isa. Okay, bumaba po tayo ng isa. Okay, so what we are going to do is as we go on, okay, so bumaba tayo ng isa, let's now look at the inversion, okay, on the fourth note of our inversion. So, since bumaba yung ating prime, ang gagawin naman natin sa ating inversion ay tataas. Okay, now look at the fourth note of our inversion. We have there C sharp. Itaas natin si C sharp ng isa, naging D. Okay, nakuha po ba? Okay, now let's move on with our fifth and sixth note in the prime order. A sharp to F. Okay, bumaba. Okay, A sharp to F. Bumaba po tayo. Bilangin natin. From A sharp to F, we have A. Okay, then the second note is G sharp. The third note is G. And then the fourth note is F sharp. Meaning to say, bumaba po tayo ng apat. Okay, bumaba tayo ng apat. At ang gagawin natin sa inversion ay tataas po tayo ng apat. Now, look at the fifth note of the inversion. We have there D. So, tataas po tayo ng apat. Okay, so we have there, the first note is D sharp. Second note is E. Third note is F sharp. Fourth note is F sharp. And then, the fifth note is G. Okay? So there, nakuha po natin yung ating sixth note ng inversion. And ganun lang po din yung gagawin. Okay, that's what we are going to do with the next note. Okay? So is it clear? Okay, that's how you get the inversion. Next, let's proceed with retrograde inversion. It's really easy, students, because it's something like the retrograde from the prime that we have done a while ago. Okay? So when we say retrograde inversion, it's something like inversion backwards only. Okay? So if we have there the RI1, meaning to say it is the I1 backwards. Okay? If it is I0, okay, the retrograde inversion will be RI0. Okay? Similar with the retrograde from the discussion a while ago. So, if the first note in the inversion 0 that we have is C, okay, yung first note ng inversion, siya ay magiging 12th note ng retrograde inversion. Okay? Siya po ay magiging 12th note ng retrograde inversion. And ano yung first note niya? Ano yung first note niya, students? Berhendel Pilar students. That is the E. Okay? E is the 12th note of inversion, right? And in getting the retrograde inversion, okay, yung 12th note na yon ng ating inversion ang siyang magiging first note ng RI. Okay? Then the 11th note of inversion will be the second note of retrograde inversion. D sharp will be the third note of retrograde inversion. F will be the fourth note. A will be the fifth. B is the sixth. G will be the seventh. Okay, then D is the eighth. C sharp will be the ninth note. Then A sharp will be the 10th note. Then 11th note will be F sharp. And 12th note is the C. Okay, is it clear? Okay, similar with this one. If ever that you are going to get the RI1, okay, so you need to know first what is the inversion 1 that we have. Okay, if you are to get the RI6, you must know first what is the notes in the inversion 6. Okay, so you cannot have the retrograde inversion 7 if you don't know what is the inversion 7 or what are the notes inside the inversion 7. Okay, is it clear? So you only have to read, okay, or to copy it reverse. Okay? So backwards. Okay, you have to read it backwards. Okay, if the 12th note of the inversion 6 is A sharp, that will be the first note of the retrograde inversion 6. Okay, I hope it's clear to all of you. Then if you have any other question, you can send me a personal message. You can send me on my messenger account. Okay. So have a nice day ahead. So just like what we have talked about, you are to do the activity. Let's explain activity that is written in your book. Okay, so I want you to work on it and try answering the activity in your book, which requires you to answer what is the prime, okay, the inversion, the retrograde, and the retrograde inversion, which is page 22, students. Okay, so the let's explain activity. Okay, so you have until next meeting to answer that. Okay, so you can see it there naman po. Okay, you have already the given prime there. Okay, so you only have to write your answers on the stuff that is provided on page 22. That would be all, and have a nice day ahead. Grade 10, and bye-bye.